You know what, Deepak? We actually don't work with external vendors. Hi guys, my name's Deepak Shukla, founder at Pearl+Lemon+Sales. We're a sales training and development agency based in the UK as well as the USA, but serving clients worldwide. And here today in day number 69 of 119 days of cold calling training, we're here to talk about the we don't work with external vendors objection handle. But before we get into it, feel free to click the link below to get access to 17 additional strategies that are not shared in this training. So fundamentally, you will come across companies that just abjectly say, Deepak, we don't work with external vendors, we don't work with third parties, we don't work with other agencies, and it's a tough old objection to overcome, okay? Because some companies, as a policy, don't work with external businesses, do not work with external businesses at all, and to that end, if you come up against this objection, I want to walk you through at least some strategies that you could use when faced with this objection to see if it's something that could be potentially worked around, an exception could be made for the first time, and these are my thoughts. So, number one, amazing. So congratulate as always. So you congratulate. Well, brilliant. You know what? I think that that's such a sensible move. It means that you have complete control over exactly what you're doing. You, of course, have all of the value that is driven from the relationships because they're all internal relationships and you're in control and have all of the knowledge in-house. And to be honest with you, I think that that's a really amazing strategy. So you congratulate, 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 and then also say, and we actually really enjoy working with businesses that have never worked with external vendors before, that have not worked with external vendors before, because it's that kind of culture, that kind of environment that we're able to drive the most value within. We come in and we will work with you, and you will still feel that there's not even an external vendor in place because of how tightly we're going to fit like a glove into your team. Okay, that is how it's going to be. You're effectively going to have another several employees working for you when you work with our company, Pearl+Lemon+Sales. It's exactly what it's going to feel like, and it's exactly how it's going to be, Richard, if I'm being honest. We're not looking to be external vendors. We're not looking to be a third party. We're not looking to be outsourced. We're looking to be ultimately partners, right? A team, a joint venture that we're journeying on together, where you're able to hire us much like you would do someone in-house for the specific skills that we've got to help drive a commercial result. And that's what we can do together. So you won't even need to worry about working with external vendors, because we're not here as an external vendor. We're here ultimately, think of us as partners. So guys, you know, that could be the tie-in. Think of us as partners. We really enjoy working with companies who don't work with external vendors. That's the kind of culture that we admire, that we enjoy. That's the kind of culture that we have. We're extremely selective about the clients that we do take on. Our preference is those who've got the highest standards. So that would be one way in. The second way in is asking about why, you know? So why in context of, oh, well, amazing, Jim. I'm glad that you've made the decision to not work with external vendors. Did something happen in the, like, what is it out of interest that's led you to that decision? Has it been what is it that led you, or what is the reason behind that, if you don't mind me asking? But the problem is with that kind of phrasing, chaps, which is why I've stuttered here a little bit, is that when you say, oh, well, what's the reason behind that? It's quite questioning, it's quite probing, but it does not come from a place of empathy. It comes from a place of challenge, and challenge isn't what you want to introduce into the conversation. It's being empathetic, or at least understanding. So it's much better to say, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. That makes a ton of sense. Is it because was that decision made maybe a long time ago because of, you know, a bad experience that you had historically or something? So you could lead them to a specific. When you ask the question, you could lead them to a specific and say, oh, is there something specifically that happened in the past that made you decide to not work with external vendors? So you could go the we're partners route. We are very selective about who we work with. We are not an external vendor. Don't think of us as an external vendor to Did something specific happen in your past that led you to making that decision? Number three could be the downright ask is, okay, let me ask you this. If we could wave a magic wand and say you would in some way consider an external vendor, it doesn't need to be us. Let's just imagine we're in a parallel universe. What would you expect from an external vendor? Or, it's the same as an employee. So I suppose I should ask, what do you expect from your current employees when you go into anything, for example, that's new? Or when you go into, for example, this? So what is the expectation of an external vendor? Will be the next thing, okay? So number one is think of us as partners. So number one is partners. Number two is there a specific reason why? Specific reason why. Number three, if you did work with external vendors, what would be what would be the requirement? This is such terrible writing. It's crazy. What would be the requirement? And number four would be the what is it that you would need to know for what would need to happen for you to change your mind, like realistically, not assuming cows would have to fly. Outside of that, what would need to happen for that to change out of interest? So guys, you can keep probing, keep mining, and I've given you 4 different techniques that you can use when you're faced with the we don't work with external vendors objection handle, just to uncover ultimately possibilities, ways, or angles in. It still might be the case that it still might be the case that you're just going to get a point blank, nope, we don't work with external vendors, and that's that. It doesn't matter what you say to me. And some business owners or some marketing and sales directors are quite obstinate on that. But if you show understanding and empathy, yep, I understand. That makes sense. I'd be the same if I was you. We've been following the same policy ourselves. Now, using that kind of language and then beginning those probes over the 4 points that I mentioned is really going to be at least a much more effective way of seeing if you can get around this and still get the prospect onto an appointment. So there you have it, guys. That we don't work with external vendors objection handle.
Remember, we've got 17 gated strategies just waiting for you. All you need to do is bing, subscribe, as well as click the link in the description below to get access to those 17. Get some.